What a joy that you have found us for this podcast. How exciting it is to think that this spiritual message is going out to people around this planet. Whether your life is working at a peak level or whether it can use some enhancement, have I got the message for you today. So get a piece of paper, get ready to take notes, call a friend, have them watch this podcast also. Then you too can have something to talk about and take it to a deeper level. So enjoy. Here we go.
So, here at Seaside, we're second week into a series called Realigning. And it is about realigning with that spirit, with that power, with the presence, with the truth of who you are. And what I know is your truth is that you are a love story that is waiting to happen. A love story with its miracles and its wonders and its fantastic unfoldment and endings. And it is great. And there is someone inside of you. This is what Hafiz said, the Persian poet, many hundred years ago, that there's someone inside of you that is holding the hand of God, that is kissing the hand of God, and it wants to share the grandeur. There's someone inside of you that is holding the hand of God, that is kissing the hand of God, and wants to share its grandeur. That's the love story. That is what I know is the truth about you. So when we are out of alignment with that it is time to turn back and remember that, because we are in a truly dynamic time within our world and within our life. And it's one thing when we deal with our own stuff, a world where there is difficulties in our individual lives, we can articulate the challenges if we're having in a relationship, or if you're having at work, you can share that over lunch. But we're in a world where there is a challenge, whether the talk of recession or the planet that is war. It is a lot more difficult to talk about that over lunch. It's like this ominous thing that is just in the pit of our stomach that sits there. It's like, how do you say that? That fear that is there. But I'll tell you, the world as we've known it, it's passing. The world as we've known it is passing on, and there's something new that is emerging. There's a change taking place. A change is a process. A change isn't something that just, boom, it happens, and now I'm living in that fantasy. I'm living in that world of absolute love. Change is a process. Even Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science, he says that God couldn't even make a yearling calf overnight. It takes time. It takes time to usher in the change. It takes time to live in that place of trust. It takes time to allow the process to unfold itself so we can step into it and believe. And so what happens sometimes when the change is going on, we forget to believe in the love story. We forget to align with the truth of who we are, and we believe the truth of who we are is being bounced around in the world. It's kind of like the pinball effect for some people. You just get bounced from one bumper to the next bumper to the next bumper, and all of a sudden this bouncing around seems normal. And you get bounced around, and then after all that bouncing, you go down the chute anyway. Yeah. I like what Lily Tomlin says. When you live in the rat race, even if you win the race, you're still a rat. And so I'm here to remind us to realign and to trust the process of change that is coming, like that trip Eddie was singing to us. That trip, if you just didn't have to worry, you didn't have to bring the money, you didn't have to bring the concern. You chose to align with that love story of who you are, the truth of who your being is. I believe that we can learn everything that we need to learn in life through joy, through happiness. I truly believe that. And I also believe that if you don't get it through joy and happiness, you get to learn it through pain and struggle. Uh-oh, that's right. So you might as well line up. Spirit says yes. You want pain, struggle? Yes, you can have it. You want joy and happiness? Yes, you can have it. What am I going to align with? What am I going to choose to trust is happening in my life and when I don't see it? Spirit speaking. It's that impulse. It is that feeling. It is that intuition. And when Spirit says for us to do something, it's up to us to say yes. The Spirit says yes all the time. The universe says yes is what we say. And so if we're made in the image and likeness, it's up to us to say yes. But what happens so much is people, rather than saying yes at the beginning, they say when God speaks, or that impulse says, they say, why? Right? Explain to me, please. Give me a little more understanding, God, or life. Let me see how it's going to actually happen. Let me understand it all before I say yes. Well, I'll tell you what, why is not the prerequisite to embracing the presence of God. Yes is. Yes needs to be at the beginning, not the end of our statements with God. Let yes be at the beginning, not the end. Let us begin to step into that place where we are realigning and aligning with that flow and that spirit and that divine unfoldment that wants to stir inside of our being. Because spirit is available to us. Spirit is always available to us. So are you available to Spirit? Are you available to God? What happens is we get caught up in our perception. We see what's right before us. And we're like a fly, I've heard it said, crawling across the Sistine Chapel. We don't have a clue. We're walking all over the gods and the angels because all we can see is that which is right before our little fly eyes. We don't get that what we see right before our human eyes, that's only a little piece of the full God picture, the full perspective. If I could step back and view the ceiling, if I could see as God sees, if I could know as God knows the miracles that await for those that believe in the kingdom of heaven that is here on earth now, expressing itself through you and through me, if I could align with that, if I could truly accept the change that is emerging in my life and trust the process that is going on. But what happens so often is my mind gets caught up with those particulars, with those pieces, with those fly eyes, and sees only this. And so often what occupies my mind and my field of awareness is stuff that's unimportant. It's not God. But it fills my mind and my awareness and my time and my thinking with the thoughts and the energy that I have to share, but yet if it is being consumed by the ways of this world or things that are unimportant, then what happens is it begins to use up my time, it begins to use up my energy, it begins to use up me, deplete me in my life. And it becomes instead of being spiritually free, it becomes like a spiritual parasite that just sucks it all out. And to break free of those pernicious effects, I've got to walk away from it. And I'm not saying walk away from that which you've got to be doing, but walk away from that which is not important, that is not godlike, that is consuming your time, your energy, your fears, to build a bridge to that vision. Begins by building the bridge within your own mind. So you can walk away from the mental addiction to those parasitical thoughts of fear and separation and embrace the enlightened perception of unity and wholeness and love. You get to live in the world in which you see. You get to inhabit the world in which you see. That was last week's talk, right? Remember that one? Well, those who don't, pick up your CD. It's available to you right after the service today. You know, Seaside is a vision-led spiritual community. It is a beautiful spiritual community that takes the time to vision. Once a month we get together and we say, what is the highest vision for Seaside? We are a vision-led spiritual community. Our Wisdom for Life Elementary School is visioning this Thursday at 5:30. You're invited. If you have any passion towards the education of the youth, come be part of that vision. We choose to embrace that vision that is God. The vision for Seaside is a spiritual community that is here to serve, is to be a light in this community. That vision of a unified, beautiful, spiritual campus where these two properties are one. When you drive on to this campus, it is beautiful. You can feel the presence of God. When you walk through the door, you can feel God. You know healing is going on here. It is a campus where there are children that are educated when they're young, a place where there are classrooms in the evening for the adult education to remember who they are. It is a place where spiritual practitioners speak the word of truth and healing happens. It is a light in a community in difficult times that says you can believe that there is possibility. It is a vision that is alive, it is dynamic, and it's true, and we stand behind here at Seaside. It's a vision that has been unfolding itself from the very beginning. This latest vision, we took 6 to 8 months to unite this community behind, to get clear as to what it was, to be able to articulate, say it is to be a beautiful, unified campus where there's pathways and we can feel the love that is here. You know, there is more to life than just the physical form. It is Spirit that speaks through our heart and our soul and our spirit. And as we choose to inhabit and realign with the truth of who we are and trust the process, we can't have it all right now. As much as I'd like to see it all happen today, it takes time. The change and the emergence as we midwife this new expression into this world, into our life, it takes time. And we've got to learn to trust and have faith in a process that we cannot see. And our little mind that wants to control it all, who wants to know how it's going to happen, the one that says, why, or show me, God, rather than saying yes in the beginning, forgets that we are in this vast universe that is amidst in a huge galaxy, and all we are is a little pebble of water and rock sitting in the midst of that. And on that little pebble, we got this body with this electrochemical jelly about 3 pounds called a brain that it's trying to phantom it all. It just can't get it. As much as I want it, I can't get it. But if I learn to realign with the vision, if I continue to remember to connect with God, to go back to that source, to go back to that place, and say, I don't have to know it all. That's right. Shakespeare said, it is the fool who thinks he is wise, and it is the wise man who knows himself to be a fool. You know, what is it? Can I trust? Can I put my faith in a higher power? Can I put my faith in that which I can't really yet see? There was an exercise, an experiment done with children by Jean Piaget, who was considered like the founding father of developmental child psychology. And he did this experiment in the 20th century where he wanted to prove the developmental stages of a child's brain as they're growing. He took young children, he sat them down. And what he got was this tall, thin glass with colored water in it. And in front of the children, what he would do is he would take this tall, thin glass of water, and he would pour it into a short, wide glass. And so instead of a tall thing of water, it was just a little layer of water. And he would pour it in there. The children would watch him pour that same amount of water into that glass, and they would say, well, the first one had more water in it. And now, you know it's not possible, but the developmental structure of that young child could not grasp. He could not grasp that experience. And as they got older, he would do it again. They could then begin to grasp the conservation of volume theory is what it was called. But for me, that was a wonderful metaphor that here we are on our spiritual journey. And at a certain point, that conservation of volume is a wonderful metaphor that says, you know what? We feel that this material world is it. This is where we think there is more. We think there is more value here. We think there is more to this life and this world that is here. Forgetting that there is as much in the spiritual kingdom, that which we are saying we must align with, that which we must put our faith in, that which guides the universe and the galaxies. But my mind, my childlike mind, I thought as a child that said, this is it. There is more here. I can see it. Forgetting that behind the visible is the invisible, is the cause. What we get to see is the effect. And as we begin to mature and spiritually develop and move beyond that conservation of volume kind of theory, we recognize that there is so much more value to the unseen world. We move beyond thinking it's all about the world of form in our body. This body of ours, you know, in this era, we've learned to take good care of it. It's the only one we get, right? We're practicing our holistic health these days better than ever. We are eating organically. We're staying away from pesticides, fragrances. We can't even wear fragrances to church anymore because of the sensitivity of others. We are becoming very conscious of taking care of our physical body, right? Should we not be putting as much attention into that which is going to outlast the body, called our spirit and our soul? If we're putting that much attention into the physical form, should we not put attention into that which is going to last longer than the body? And the way we take care of our spirit and our soul is that we commune with that higher power. We live with a generous portion of joy and happiness in our love. We move in our life from fear to love. We do work that satisfies our soul. We engage in that which is so much more. There is more to life than buying groceries and paying our mortgage, I assure you. And so as we realign, as we go back and connect with the source, there's something new inside of us that calls us. We may not understand it yet. It'd be like a little child trying to grasp the water. There's a little child who was at the beach. He's about 5 years old with his dad. He comes up and he grabs his dad's hand. He pulls him down to the coastline and shows his dad a dead seagull and said, "Daddy, what's this?" And Dad says, "It's a seagull. He died and he's gone to heaven." And the little 5-year-old brain is trying to comprehend it. And he looked at his dad, and God threw him back. Yeah. There is a point in our spiritual evolution and development that we begin to grasp and understand the magnitude of the power that we're dealing with, that we have at our disposal, that moves through us. You are that expression through which God comes into form in life and in this world. And there is something radically new that needs to show up in our life. If we want the world to change, if we want our world to change, something new has to take place. If we want the world in which we live in, something new has to take place. And the beauty here is that you're a miracle worker. The beauty here is that the miracle workers are being called for a time such as this to believe in the process of change, not having to see it demonstrated here immediately, but have caught the vision of truth. The miracle workers, which you are ones and individuals who can believe in the possibility of it being different. You got that? In the possibility that it can be different, in the possibility that love is the answer. Because there's two basic emotions. There is love and there is fear. And love is to fear what light is to darkness. When one is present, the other cannot be. When the light is present, the darkness cannot be. When love is present, the darkness cannot be. And as a miracle worker, it's up to you to be that blessing, to bring that into this world. So begin to, as a miracle worker, be that miracle already. See, what we do is we don't try to seek it, the answer, the possibility, the miracle, the change, the vision. We don't go seeking that vision. What happens is we start living it now. We start practicing it now. Does that make sense? You see the difference? Rather than seeking this vision as something outside, we start practicing, we start living it. We realign with that something that is moving inside of us. We begin to believe with all our heart and soul that it is possible. And the way you do that is when you wake up in the morning. And rather than say, okay, how am I going to be blessed today? You look in the mirror and you don't go, hey, how am I going to be blessed today? But you ask yourself, how can I be a blessing today? Yes, you got that? How can I be a blessing today? How can I go out into this world and make a difference? Because what I know is as you choose to be a blessing in your life, blessings start to come back. Here's an assignment for you this week. Not only this week, if you do it for the next month or two, if you choose to see how you can be a blessing, you will find your world inundated with blessings beyond your wildest expectations. Because as you're putting blessings out there, it comes back to you. As you put love out there, it comes back to you. As you send it forth, it comes back to you. That is the way it is. Our world is hurting in which we live. As I started, it is a time where there is challenge. There's this collective anxiety that sits in the pit of the stomach that people cannot even articulate over lunch. It's like, oh, the world's going to blow up. You can be a visionary and be a doomsayer, or you can be a visionary who speaks about the kingdom of heaven showing up on earth today through you, and I'm going to be a blessing to prove that to anyone who's around me. In the 6th chapter of Galatians, it says, every opportunity we have, we should do good to people. Every opportunity we have, we should do good to people. This world in which we live, it needs the goodness that you have to share, that you can share. You are not unable to do that. It is up to you not to be persuaded or dissuaded by the world of facts and forms and think this is what is real. I'm going to believe in the vision that has been in my heart. I'm going to believe in the vision that is starting to manifest in this process called change in my life. I'm going to realign and not be dissuaded by the world of form, the headlines and the recession or the challenges, but I'm going to believe and I'm going to be a blessing and show people good is going on. I'm going to listen. How do you be a blessing? You listen. You listen to the people around you. You hear a coworker saying, oh, I gotta take my car in tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to go to work. You say, I'll pick you up. Yeah? Be a blessing anonymously. At work, clean up the kitchen and don't tell anybody you did it. I love that when that happens around here. At a restaurant, pick up the tab for somebody's lunch. You don't even know. Just maybe that guy was having a bad day. And all of a sudden, when he goes home now, he's going to be a better father or a better partner. Just because you were a blessing anonymously. There's people who say your day is not complete until you have been a blessing to someone who cannot pay you back. This world doesn't need really any more to hear any more sermons as it does to see the sermons lived. What this world needs is to see you be that miracle worker in your life right where you are with what you've got to work with. And you will begin to make a difference. Because there is a stirring in the pit of the collective unconscious of this society in which we live, in this planet that has that fear. But you know what? If you choose to stand in alignment with love, fear cannot remain. That is the responsibility we have. That is for what we have been called to do at this time. To be able to stand in the vision when others question it, when they say, no way, it is not possible, not to be dissuaded by the ways of this world, but to know that the vision that has come forth through you and through those that you've chosen to play with in this new thought, the new thoughts, the new community, the new light, the new way of being, the new kind of healing that is going on, where it says God is not going to show up through a prophet that walks through this world. It is showing up already as you. All of you are the Messiah for this world in which we live. And as tumultuous a time it may be, it cannot stand in the light of the truth in which you bring. God challenges you to say yes and to realign to the change you've been asked to bring. God bless us as we do this for all of humanity. All right. Again, a lot of heart and soul and passion. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
Hey, I trust you enjoyed that podcast. It was very exciting to be able to create that and to know that there are people like you all around the world that are observing and integrating these spiritual principles into their life. And so if you enjoyed it, what I'd like to do is encourage you to tell a friend or bring several friends together and watch another one of these podcasts, and then afterwards take some time to talk about the spiritual principles, to talk about the stories and what significance they have and relevance they have in your life. What then happens is it moves to a deeper and deeper level in your world. It becomes real and assists you to create the freedom in your life that your heart and soul so desire.